Welcome to Cloud Love Sleep Stories. I am so glad you're here. Thank you for choosing to spend time listening to my sleep story, and I'm sure you'll get a great night's rest. Please subscribe if you'd like to know when I post new stories. Tonight, let us journey into a gentle tale that soothes the heart and quiets the mind. Close your eyes and settle into a space of comfort, where the day's worries can completely dissolve. Imagine yourself enveloped in a warm golden light, a light that holds you gently, like a soft embrace, inviting you to let go. This is the story of Oakley, a wise and loving Vizsla, who is more than she appears. She is a guide, a teacher, and a quiet beacon of hope. Her presence is serene, her purpose clear, to remind us of the goodness in our hearts and the beauty in the world around us. As we follow Oakley through her tranquil days, you may find yourself breathing a little slower, your thoughts growing quieter, and your body feeling wonderfully at ease. So let your breath flow naturally, like a soft breeze moving through the trees. Feel the rhythm of your heart, steady and calm, as you prepare to drift into a peaceful rest. Together, we will walk beside Oakley, through fields of possibility and forests of peace, discovering the gentle lessons she has to share. Let this moment be a gift to yourself, a time to relax, to heal, and to dream. As the story unfolds, let it carry you, like a leaf floating down a quiet stream, toward the restful sleep you deserve. Let's begin. Oakley's rust gold coat shimmered in the gentle morning light as she padded softly along the misty lakeshore path, her nails clicking rhythmically on the weathered boards. She paused, lifting her delicate snout to sample the crisp air, catching the faint scents of pine and mossy earth that drifted on the breeze. With a contented sigh, she turned to see her faithful companion, Carolyn, ambling up the trail behind her, sketchbook tucked under one arm. "Another glorious day, eh, girl?" Carolyn smiled, reaching down to ruffle the fur behind Oakley's ears. The Vizsla leaned into her touch, her liquid amber eyes radiating pure adoration. Carolyn chuckled. "What adventures do you have in store for us today, wise one?" Oakley cocked her head, considering. Carolyn didn't realize it, but she was more correct than she knew in calling Oakley wise. Behind the dog's gentle gaze swirled eons of cosmic knowledge, the secrets of the universe itself. For Oakley was no ordinary canine, but an enlightened being, an angelic guide from realms beyond, returned to walk alongside humanity in one of its darkest hours. The unlikely duo continued on, drinking in the tranquility of the slumbering forest as it slowly awakened around them. Shafts of golden sunlight lanced through the swaying boughs overhead, dappling the leaf-strewn path in pools of honeyed luminance. A red-breasted robin trilled sweetly from a nearby branch. As they rounded a bend in the trail, Oakley's keen senses caught a disturbance in the peaceful tableau ahead. Her pace quickened. "What is it, girl?" Carolyn asked, sensing her friend's sudden alertness. They soon came upon the answer. An ancient oak had fallen across the path, its massive trunk likely toppled by last night's storm. Caught beneath one of its gnarled limbs was a fawn, its slender legs tangled helplessly in a snarl of vines and broken branches. It bleated pitifully. "Oh no, the poor little thing," Carolyn gasped, heart aching at its distress. "We have to help it." She hurried forward, but Oakley blocked her path, sitting down firmly to still her progress. Carolyn looked at her quizzically. "Oakley, we can't just leave it like that. It'll die." The dog's amber eyes held her gaze, emanating a field of soothing energy. "Trust," they seemed to say. "Be calm. Watch." As if on cue, the plaintive cries of the trapped fawn were answered by a throaty bellow from the underbrush. A moment later, the fawn's mother burst into the clearing, all flashing hooves and heaving flanks. She nuzzled her frightened baby, licking its face. Then, with a mighty thrust of her powerful neck, the doe hooked her antlers under the fallen limb and heaved upward. Muscles bunching and straining, she slowly levered the heavy branch up and up, just high enough for her fawn to scramble free. The second it gained its feet, the doe let the limb crash back to earth with a resounding thud. She snuffled her wobbly offspring thoroughly, checking for injuries, then gave it an affectionate headbutt toward the tree line. In a flash, they were gone, white tails bobbing as they disappeared into the shadowed forest depths. "Wow," Carolyn breathed. She looked down at Oakley, who was practically smiling. "You knew, didn't you, girl? You knew the mama deer would come." Oakley chuffed, pleased, then turned to continue down the now clear path. "You've much to learn about a mother's love," she thought to herself. "About the strength that flows when we let nature take its course." They walked on in companionable silence for a time, the burbling chuckle of the nearby stream a soothing soundtrack. Then Carolyn spoke again. "I wish I had your wisdom, Oakley. Your patience and faith that things will unfold as they should. I worry so much about the world, the future, whether anything I do even makes a difference." She stared off into the distance. "It all seems so big, so overwhelming at times. The suffering, the chaos. Sometimes I wonder why I bother trying to create any beauty or meaning at all in my art when everything feels so dark." Oakley stopped and turned to face her charge. She sat, holding Carolyn's gaze intently, pouring every ounce of compassion and knowing into their nonverbal communion. "Carolyn, dear heart," Oakley replied in her mind, "you have no idea how brightly your love shines into this realm, how the ripples of your creativity and care touch countless others, sparking inspiration and soothing sorrow. Every choice for connection, every moment of presence matters more than you can fathom. You are an integral thread in the infinite tapestry of all that is. Never doubt that." A lump rose in Carolyn's throat and her eyes grew damp as Oakley's soundless words washed over her. She knew not how, but she felt them land in the depths of her being as indisputable truth. Overwhelmed, she dropped to her knees and threw her arms around the dog's sturdy neck, burying her face in the warmth of her fragrant fur. "Thank you," she whispered shakily. "Thank you for being here, for believing in me." Oakley closed her eyes and nuzzled closer, surrounding Carolyn in an embrace of pure, unconditional love. They stayed this way for a long moment. Finally, Carolyn pulled back, wiping her eyes with a smile. "How about we head down to the cove? I bet the light is perfect for sketching that rocky outcropping by the red maples right about now." Oakley grinned a doggy grin, tail wagging. She took off down the path at a jaunty trot, glancing back over her shoulder as if to say, "Race you!" Laughing, Carolyn leapt to her feet and jogged after her. Her spirit felt lighter than it had in years. As she ran, a red-tailed hawk soared overhead, its majestic form bathed in the golden glow of the ascending sun. Its piercing cry echoed across the valley, a benediction, a blessing. And for the first time in a long time, Carolyn's heart took flight with it. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in a breathtaking array of pink, orange, and purple hues, Oakley sat atop a grassy hill overlooking the tranquil lake. The gentle breeze ruffled her rust-gold fur, carrying with it the sweet scent of wildflowers and the earthy aroma of the nearby forest. Oakley closed her eyes, allowing her mind to drift back to the distant memories of her past life, a life filled with wonders beyond human comprehension. In her fifth-dimensional form, she had experienced the universe in ways that defied description, traversing the cosmos and witnessing the birth and death of stars, galaxies, and entire civilizations. Yet, despite the marvels she had encountered, Oakley found herself drawn back to Earth, to the humble beings who had once been her ancestors. She had watched humanity struggle and triumph, love and lose, always striving to understand their place in the grand tapestry of existence. "Oh, my dear humans," Oakley thought, her heart swelling with affection. "If only you could see yourselves through my eyes. The potential within you is limitless, waiting to be unlocked." A rustling in the bushes nearby caught Oakley's attention, and she turned to see a young rabbit emerging from the foliage. The tiny creature, no more than a few weeks old, tentatively hopped closer to the wise dog, its nose twitching curiously. Oakley remained perfectly still, emanating a calming energy that seemed to reassure the rabbit. It inched closer until it was nestled against Oakley's side, seeking comfort and warmth. "We are all connected, little one," Oakley telepathically communicated to the rabbit, "bound by the threads of life that weave through the universe. Fear not, for you are loved and protected, just as all creatures are." As the rabbit dozed off, Oakley gazed up at the stars, now glittering like diamonds against the inky black sky. Each point of light held a story, a secret waiting to be discovered. And in that moment, Oakley knew that her journey on Earth was far from over. There were still hearts to heal, minds to awaken, and lives to touch. With renewed purpose, Oakley stood, gently nudging the sleeping rabbit back towards its burrow. She had work to do, and she would not rest until every human understood the truth of their divine nature. As Oakley descended the hill, her steps were light and filled with grace. The world around her seemed to shimmer with newfound beauty, as if reflecting the love and wisdom that emanated from her very being. And though the path ahead was uncertain, Oakley knew that she would face it with unwavering courage and compassion, forever guided by the light of her eternal soul. The sun peeked over the horizon, casting a warm glow across the tranquil lakeside village. Oakley emerged from her cozy bed, stretching her lean body and shaking her rust gold coat. She padded softly to the window, her soulful eyes taking in the breathtaking view of the shimmering lake and the lush green trees that lined its shores. Carolyn, Oakley's human companion, was already awake, sipping her morning tea on the porch. Oakley made her way outside, her tail wagging gently as she approached Carolyn. The artist smiled warmly, reaching out to stroke Oakley's silky ears. "Good morning, my wise friend," Carolyn murmured, her voice still thick with sleep. Oakley leaned into Carolyn's touch, her eyes closing in contentment. She could sense the love and trust that flowed between them, a bond that transcended the boundaries of species and time. With a gentle nudge, Oakley urged Carolyn to her feet, eager to begin their daily walk. As they strolled along the water's edge, Oakley's keen senses picked up on the subtle shifts in the world around her. The gentle rustling of leaves in the breeze, the distant calls of birds, and the soft lapping of waves against the shore all painted a picture of harmony and balance. Carolyn, too, seemed attuned to the beauty that surrounded them. She paused often, her eyes drinking in the scenery as if seeing it for the first time. "It's incredible," she whispered, her voice filled with awe. "Every day, I find new inspiration in the simplest things." Oakley wagged her tail in agreement, knowing that Carolyn's words held a deeper truth. The artist's ability to find beauty in the ordinary was a gift, one that allowed her to create works of art that touched the hearts and souls of those who viewed them. As they rounded a bend in the path, Oakley suddenly stopped, her body still and alert. Carolyn followed her gaze, her eyes widening as she spotted a figure hunched on a nearby bench. It was Mrs. Jameson, an elderly neighbor known for her kind heart and gentle spirit. But today, something was different. Mrs. Jameson's shoulders shook with silent sobs, her face buried in her hands. Oakley felt a wave of sadness wash over her, a tangible presence that seemed to hang heavy in the air. Without hesitation, Oakley approached the grieving woman, her steps slow and purposeful. She sat quietly beside Mrs. Jameson, her warm body pressed against the woman's leg. Carolyn watched in amazement as Mrs. Jameson's sobs gradually subsided, her hand reaching out to stroke Oakley's soft fur. "Thank you," Mrs. Jameson whispered, her voice trembling with emotion. "I don't know what I would do without you, Oakley. You always seem to know just what I need." Oakley gazed up at Mrs. Jameson, her eyes filled with understanding and compassion. She knew that sometimes words were not enough, that the simple act of being present, of offering comfort through touch and presence, could heal even the deepest of wounds. As they continued their walk, Carolyn marveled at the way Oakley seemed to touch the lives of everyone she encountered. It was as if the wise Vizsla had a special gift, an ability to sense the needs of others and respond with love and kindness. Their steps eventually led them to a quiet stretch of road where a small, dark shape caught Oakley's eye. As they drew closer, Carolyn gasped, realizing that it was a stranded turtle, its shell cracked and its legs flailing helplessly. Oakley approached the injured creature, her nose gently nudging its shell. The turtle's eyes met hers, and in that moment, a silent understanding passed between them. Oakley knew that every life, no matter how small, had value and purpose. Carolyn knelt beside them, her hands gently scooping up the turtle. "We have to help it," she said, her voice filled with determination. "Let's take it to the wildlife center in town. They'll know what to do." Oakley wagged her tail in approval, pride swelling in her heart. Carolyn's compassion and willingness to act were a testament to the goodness that resided within the human spirit. It was moments like these that gave Oakley hope for the future, a belief that humanity could rise above its challenges and create a world of love and harmony. As they made their way back home, the turtle safely cradled in Carolyn's arms, Oakley reflected on the lessons of the day. Each encounter, each moment of connection, served as a reminder of the power of kindness, the importance of compassion, and the boundless potential that existed within every living being. And though her mission was far from over, Oakley knew that she was exactly where she needed to be, a gentle guide, a loving presence, and a beacon of hope in a world that so often seemed shrouded in darkness. With each step, each wag of her tail, she would continue to spread the light one heart at a time. As the days unfolded, Oakley found herself increasingly attuned to the thoughts and emotions of those around her. She sensed their struggles, their hopes, and their quiet dreams, as if their very essence was whispered on the breeze, carried to her perceptive ears. On a particularly sunny afternoon, Oakley accompanied Carolyn to the local farmer's market. As they weaved through the bustling stalls, Oakley's attention was drawn to a young man sitting quietly on a bench, his shoulders hunched and his eyes downcast. She sensed a deep sadness within him, a feeling of being lost and disconnected from the world around him. Without hesitation, Oakley approached the young man, her tail wagging gently. She nuzzled his hand, offering a silent invitation for connection. Startled, the man looked down at Oakley, his eyes widening in surprise. "Well, hello there," he said softly, a tentative smile forming on his lips. "Aren't you a friendly one?" Oakley sat beside him, her warm presence a comforting anchor in the midst of his turmoil. As the man stroked her soft fur, he began to talk, his words tumbling out in a cathartic release. "I've been struggling lately," he confessed, his voice trembling slightly. "I feel like I'm not good enough, like I'm failing at everything I try." Oakley listened intently, her wise eyes locked on his face. She saw beyond his self-doubt. beyond the layers of fear and insecurity. In his heart, she recognized a radiant being of light, a soul brimming with untapped potential. As if sensing her thoughts, the man's shoulders straightened, a flicker of hope igniting in his eyes. "But maybe," he whispered, more to himself than to Oakley, "maybe I'm not as broken as I thought. Maybe there's still a chance for me to make a difference." Oakley's tail wagged in affirmation, her love and support flowing through her gentle touch. She knew that this moment, this connection, had the power to change the course of the man's life, to help him see himself as she saw him, a being of infinite worth and potential. As Carolyn approached, her arms laden with fresh produce, Oakley reluctantly pulled away from the man. But the impact of their interaction lingered, a subtle shift in the energy that surrounded them. "Thank you," the man whispered, his eyes glistening with unshed tears. "Thank you for seeing me." Oakley watched as he stood, his steps lighter and his head held high. She knew that he had taken the first step on a journey of self-discovery, a path that would lead him to embrace his own radiant light. As they walked home, Oakley's heart swelled with gratitude. She knew that her mission was not just about grand gestures or world-changing events. It was about the small, meaningful moments, the quiet connections, the gentle reminders of love and worth that had the power to transform lives and ripple outward, creating a wave of positive change. And with each encounter, each soul touched by her loving presence, Oakley felt the threads of humanity's collective story being woven together, forming a tapestry of hope, compassion, and resilience. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in a breathtaking array of pinks and oranges, Oakley found herself drawn to a quiet patch of moonlit grass near the lake's edge. The soft, cool blades cushioned her tired paws as she settled in, her rust gold coat shimmering under the stars' gentle light. Gazing up at the vast expanse of the night sky, Oakley felt a deep sense of connection to the universe. The twinkling stars seemed to wink at her knowingly, as if acknowledging her celestial origins and the profound journey she had undertaken. "They're welcoming me home," Oakley mused, a warm feeling of belonging spreading through her chest. "But I'm not quite ready to leave yet." As an ascended being, Oakley knew that her time on Earth was limited, that she would eventually return to the higher realms from which she came. But looking back on her experiences, the lives she had touched, the hearts she had healed, and the seeds of hope she had planted, she understood that her mission was far from over. There are still so many souls who need guidance, so many minds that yearn for a glimpse of their own divine nature, Oakley reflected, her eyes softening with compassion. "I will continue to be a beacon of love and light for as long as I am needed." With a contented sigh, Oakley rested her head on her paws, her body relaxing into the earth's gentle embrace. The soothing sounds of the lake lapping against the shore and the distant hooting of an owl lulled her into a peaceful state of meditation. As she drifted between the realms of consciousness, Oakley's mind filled with visions of the future, a world where humanity had awakened to its true potential, where kindness and compassion reigned supreme, and where every living being was recognized as an integral part of the cosmic tapestry. And when that day comes, Oakley thought, a smile playing at the corners of her mouth, I will be there to witness it, to celebrate alongside the souls I have guided and the lives I have touched. With that comforting thought, Oakley allowed herself to sink deeper into the present moment, her heart overflowing with gratitude and love for the incredible journey that lay ahead. As the night wore on, the gentle breeze carried Oakley's message of love and reassurance to the sleeping village. In their dreams, the inhabitants felt a warm, comforting presence as if they were being embraced by an old friend. Carolyn stirred in her sleep, a smile playing on her lips as she dreamt of walking alongside Oakley through a field of wildflowers. In the dream, Oakley turned to her, those wise, soulful eyes shimmering with an otherworldly light. "You are a part of something greater, Carolyn," Oakley's voice echoed in her mind. "Your love, your creativity, and your compassion are the very essence of the universe. Never doubt the power of your light." As the dream faded, Carolyn's heart swelled with a newfound sense of purpose and belonging. She knew, deep within her soul, that she was exactly where she was meant to be, and that her journey, like Oakley's, was one of love and service. Oakley's spirit drifted through the village, touching the hearts of all those she had encountered. The grieving neighbor dreamt of walking hand in hand with a lost loved one, their tears transforming into rainbows. The stranded turtle, now safe in its woodland home, dreamt of the gentle hands that had carried it to safety. "You are all interconnected," Oakley whispered into the collective dream. "Each act of kindness, each moment of compassion ripples out into the world, creating a tapestry of love that spans the very fabric of existence." As the first light of dawn touched the horizon, Oakley's spirit returned to her earthly form. She stretched, her rust gold coat catching the morning sun's golden rays. With a contented sigh, she padded into the house, ready to greet Carolyn with a wagging tail and a heart full of love. And though the village began to stir, the memory of Oakley's presence lingered, a gentle reminder that they were all part of something greater, something infinitely beautiful and boundless. As the listener drifted off to sleep, they too felt the warmth of Oakley's love surrounding them. And in their dreams, a soft whisper in the breeze echoed the truth of their being. "You are loved, you are enough, and the world is better because you are here.